Chelsea hosted City at the Bridge on Sunday. We lost 2-0. I thought it'd be worse than that, if I'm brutally honest. Um, I had 4-0 or 4-1 in my head. Andrew, tell me your thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I agree. I thought we'd do a hell of a lot worse. I just realised we didn't do a score prediction, did we, in the pre-game one? Um, I thought there were signs of something that we could put together. I do think City were just by far the better team, though. Um, I think they were doing what we wanted to be doing, and we weren't doing it very as well as they were. In terms of Rico Lewis was coming inside and creating that extra midfielder a lot of the game, and it allowed De Bruyne to pick up very difficult positions and make our defenders and midfielders make choices into who had to go across and pick him up. And I think Cole Palmer needed to really take that job on because Gavardio wasn't going forward with the ball. And it meant that Caicedo was going out wide to mark De Bruyne and help Gusto out on that right hand side, especially in the first half. I don't no, in the second half, sorry. And I think that was potentially some tactical naivety from us, and whether Maresca could have done something about that, I don't know. But I think City were phenomenal. I think it shows in their first goal, which was just an unbelievably good finish. Yes, there might have been a couple of things that we could have done in the build up, but we weren't, it wasn't terrible defending. Second goal, a little bit more upset about, I'd say. I think the play out from the back wasn't quite right. The clearance wasn't good enough as it was a clearance. It wasn't really a long ball. And obviously Kovacic picked it up, and I think Enzo needs to do a hell of a lot better in there. And then I think Sanchez needs to do a hell of a lot better when he gets a hand to it.
I mean, to be fair, I think you could say Caicedo and Enzo. They're both at fault with Kovacic. I mean, don't get me wrong,
Enzo
Kovacic.
had far more time, and he should have got back and put more pressure on it than he did. Caicedo was kind of beaten already, but probably should have taken him down. But I think he already had a booking.
What I mean, for me, I thought Caicedo was kind of beaten for most of the game, to be honest, from various different players.
What game were you
Um,
watching?
what game were you watching?
Why are you just allowing Enzo to get away with it?
No, no, I'm not allowing anything. I'm not allowing anything to get away with it. Like I agree. I've already agreed with you. I said it was both of them, and I stand by that.
But you come out immediately and gone, everyone was getting past Caicedo.
Well, I rewatched the highlights again today, the extended ones and stuff. And to be fair, there's just something about him when it comes to players running at him, and just how he reacts. I don't think he does enough. I really don't think he does enough. I think he's too standoffish, and he doesn't anticipate the player moving. If he runs at someone, he doesn't anticipate the player moving. Like City, when they put pressure on us throughout the game, they really did. Excuse me, they really did go for us, and they really closed us down. They didn't give us any space to move. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are a quality team, and just their technique is brilliant. So they a lot of players are well beaters that they've got, and they can go around us. But and this is a point for me across the Chelsea team for a lot of players, not just Caicedo. There's a few players that I can put into this bracket, and it's something I've been going on about for a while. It's one of a few small details for me where I just feel like when we're closing players down, we need to do it a bit more aggressively. I don't think we really commit to the closing down. We ease off towards the end, or we're not running in the right line, and we're not closing off the space properly. We're leaving one side open. And that's not just Caicedo. That is a few players that I'm putting in that bracket, and it's just something as a team and as a collective I think we need to work on. When you compare it to how City do it, it's very different. Um, but yeah, he had an okay game. He had an okay game.
Caicedo, yeah. He was miles better than Enzo was.
See, in
Miles better.
in
Enzo
what
caused us more problems than he caused them. He
in
gave the
what
ball away in a position where he wasn't even supposed to be. He was supposed to be further up the pitch, and he kept giving it away in front of our box.
I mean, to be fair, I've heard a few people on various different pundit sites and things like Talk Sport, Sky Sports, and all that sort of stuff. And a few people have slagged off Enzo. And I was a bit like, have I got my Enzo blinkers on again where I'm like,
Yes.
I think he's brilliant. To be fair, the one thing I will say about Enzo is I didn't think he had a very good first touch a lot of the game, to be honest. But I do think his ball distribution when he was in the middle of the pitch and shifting out wide, and he found some nice balls, and he was being creative from the middle. We know he's not good defensively. Like we know that's not really his game. I'm not excusing it because I do think in this league you've all got to be able to put a shift in, and I will happily hold him to that standard that I hold a lot of other players up where I go, you might be good on the ball, you might be able to pass it here, but you can't defend for shit. He has to work on that. I 100% agree, but he's not the only person in that team that has to work on that. There are a few others as well. Um, but I thought actually moving forward, I thought he was pretty good. Not exceptional, not amazing, not outstanding, but I thought he was pretty good. But I to the point where I thought he was trying to be creative moving forward.
I thought he was our worst player on the pitch, and I don't think it was particularly close.
No.
Who do you think was worse than him?
Who do I think was worse than him?
Yeah,
Um, from a final third perspective, I thought Jackson wasn't good at all. I thought Gusto struggled a bit. I didn't see the Gusto that I would normally see, especially when the two wingers switched over. I thought Cucurella was better than Gusto. Gusto had his moments in the first half. I thought he struggled in the second half. And then Caicedo, I'm also going to put. I wasn't overly overwhelmed by Caicedo. I didn't see anything where I kind of go, yeah, that's why you're in the team. Woo, I'm glad we've got you. Like I just thought it was okay. You know, I didn't really see anything that gave me confidence where I go, yeah, do you know what? He's brilliant or he's really good in that position. I still haven't seen that this season. Like we saw glimpses of it at the end of last season, absolutely. But I didn't see anything. Whereas I thought, at least with Enzo, he was trying to be creative in the middle of the park and he did do some lovely balls out wide and into the box, which there was just, but at the end of the day, there's no one in the right spaces. There was no one really competing, or when we did get it to somebody, the technique and the quality let us down in the final third, and there was too many touches, which is another one of my things where there's just too many touches in the final third in the box.
I think that's a bit harsh on the basis that I think City were just in the way. I think they
They
were
defend very well.
defensively very in a very good position, and we could have taken the shot, but we were just hitting the ball against a City player. And I think
That
that's something Fernandez did a few times,
Yeah,
where
no, that is the other
probably could have made
that
a
is
better
the other
choice.
side to that coin, and I happily agree with that in the sense of there is that argument. Like if I shoot straight like first time or after one touch, absolutely that could happen. I just felt on a few occasions there were times where we could have taken a shot a little bit quicker rather than taking a few more and allowing players to get back and a bit more settled. But I do agree with your comment. They are a very well defensively drilled team and they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think on your point about Jackson, I think I was a little bit disappointed with the offside marginal, but I was a little bit disappointed that he was offside in that position because he's got the whole line to look at.
To be honest, in the stand, everyone was cheering, and
Yeah,
then everyone was like, "Oh, it's offside." I went, "Who's offside?" I said, "Who the
yeah,
fuck have they flagged as offside?"
incredibly, it was.
Someone goes, "Jackson." I went, "Oh, he's offside." As soon as I heard his name being mentioned, I was like, "He's offside. He's offside. It's Jackson," and it's ridiculous.
And he had one other good chance that Edison made a decent save at, but it was pretty close to Edison.
There was one that he absolutely scuffed. He took too many touches, and he absolutely scuffed it.
But I think in his case, you have to kind of go, well, he's been injured for most of the preseason. He's played, 30 minutes against Inter at best. So he's not match fit. So give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit.
But it's striking. Like I'm not being funny. I can understand a few things here and there where you kind of go, yeah. But striking I mean, he was unlucky with the like you said, the Edison save where it literally goes straight at him. And to be fair, had it gone anywhere else, it on target, it was probably a goal.
Yeah.
The little toe poke, and I do agree. But but even some of his positional play, I just go, did like this? That's you're a striker. Like that's what you're supposed to be working on in training. I just feel like again he's getting stuck behind too many defenders, and he's not making a run to kind of get round somebody. And I'm like, what have you been working on? What has someone told you to do? Um, and that's the disappointing thing for me more than anything else. It just I find he's always behind too many defenders, and he doesn't try to make a run or a quick burst to get round one or round two, and get away from everybody. And again, that is the movement I found off the ball when we had the ball. Sorry, and playing from the back. There was a lot of times where Colwell for Fofana had the ball and everybody was static. Like City just slowly moved forward because no one was moving. They didn't have to do anything. They could just stand where they wanted to. Chelsea players weren't moving and offering anything. And again, it's all yeah, great, play from the back, have your possession, but you've got to be making runs. And I feel like again, we did some counter attacks, which was nice, but we weren't making enough runs off the ball to draw City players away or to create space again. And for me, that's disappointing as well. I expected to see that under Maresca football. That's what I was hoping to get, or felt like we should be doing.
Yeah. The thing with under Maresca football is the people that you're looking at to get that ball are the two more offensive midfielders. And if they're marked out of the game, I think it's potentially very difficult to get out in the right way.
Sorry, on that one, when you say the two sort of offensive midfielders, are you
Yeah.
saying that they should be the ones doing the passing, or are you saying they should be the ones making the runs? Because I'm talking about when, especially at the back, when Fofana or Cole had it, and
Yeah.
there
So
was
Fofana
nothing.
and Colwill, in theory, should a lot of the times be trying to find Enzo and Enzo in this case. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure who was supposed to be the other midfielder that was further forward.
Well,
Might have been Navia, it might have been Caicedo.
going back to what you were saying earlier on in terms of City's formation, because we got a bit sidetracked. City's formation versus our formation. I agree. I thought that that's what we were trying to do and trying to do the inverted fullback a bit more.
Hmm.
And I did struggle to see it. I thought Cucurella might have been doing it at times, but not to the extent or what I expected. And then actually, after listening to a few different things today on the radio, we were actually playing a 4-2-3-1. We weren't doing the 4-3-3 with a or
Yeah.
an inverted fullback. We were actually predominantly playing a 4-2-3-1. So now that I've heard that and I've heard people talking about it, uh, and I rethink about the game, that makes a lot more sense to me. So we were, and
I
it
think
worked.
Gusto did it a couple of times, but it almost felt like Gusto was trying to play right winger at times while watching it on TV. And
Yeah.
Cole Palmer was supposed to be the one that was cutting inside and being that midfielder in that in the pocket.
Augusto was definitely going on the right
He
wing.
was
Yeah.
he was high up on the right. So I just assumed that Palmer was supposed to be cutting inside and being that extra midfielder rather than Gusto, just because of how I think Maresca wants to play. But it didn't seem to come off. We didn't give him enough to think about really. And
No, I agree, and I think City knew what we were. I thought City knew what we were going to try and do
yeah,
because they do it and they do it very, very well. So it was always going to be a tough game. We just
yeah,
like you say, it was good. It wasn't a bad performance. I'm not coming away screaming my head off, or being overly disappointed. I said for me, there was only a few things that I really kind of went, yeah, we need to improve on that. We need to do that better, and we need to do. There's only three things which I've already said, and I've said them. Can we get a striker, a proper striker? I think even people said today, if we had Haaland, we probably would have won the game. Like to the point where we played well. We didn't play badly. You know, we just couldn't make those final steps or yards in the final third, and didn't really have that proper striker to bury a few chances or to muscle his way through. So it wasn't an awful performance. I don't think I'm not as worried as I was, put it that way.
no, and I think a lot of it will come with time as well. I think we will get better at. There was a few times where players were making runs and or didn't make the run, and someone's played the ball in that area, assuming that they would continue the run or whatever. And I think those will decrease over time as the season goes on. Um, Personally, I think Nkunku should be playing up front still because
I agree.
I think he's the best finisher that we have. His movement's the best, um, and maybe we'll end up with that. I just feel like there's a reluctance from Maresca to play him there because he could have done it in pre-season and chose not to. And I think pre-season would have been a decent time to do it.
Well, when the squads were announced, I spoke to Dad about it because we all drove up together, and we both said, "Oh, Jackson must be playing out left then," because we all thought Sterling. I mean, this is another conversation itself, the whole Sterling thing. But we all predicted Sterling would play, and we would have Nkuku up top and Palmer on the right. And when we heard Jackson was playing, we all went, "Oh, he must be playing out wide left then," because Nkuku, for me, I agree, he's the better finisher and his movement is better. So I was very surprised by it. So I didn't think Neto would start, but I thought he did okay when he came on. Again, what I liked was he did want to take on players.
Yeah.
I don't think he was trying to take too many touches before he went on, tried to go around them or go past them, which was good. Um, but yeah, I agree. I just think with Jackson, I think we're going to see the same thing that we saw a lot of last season. Unfortunately, the more he's up top as the main striker.
Yeah, I think I'm slightly surprised by Sterling's lack of inclusion on the basis that he does seem to just get something against City. He does seem to just get a goal against City, and I think that's kind of letting him know his writing's on the wall a little bit that he's not likely to feature very much.
To be honest, I thought as soon as we signed Neto, I was like, someone's number is up. Someone's number is up.
Yeah.
And my gut was, well, it was such a hard one to call which one. It was like, right, Sterling is older than Madrid.
Hmm.
Doesn't fit the bill in terms of the direction that Chelsea want to go. Sterling hasn't really played well for us overall. And he's on a ridiculous wage. Like
Hmm.
ridiculous that they must want to get off the books. Then you look at Mudryk and you kind of go, Mudryk's shown very little apart from sheer pace. Is there a player that we can mold with? He's got an 8-year contract, 7 years at the very least. But I don't know how much he's on. He's not on anywhere near as much as Sterling. So it for me, it was like, right, which one do they think that they can move on easier?
Hmm.
And I heard a lot of rumors saying that Arsenal were now going to go in for Mudryk when we went for Neto. But I always thought, realistically, I would want Sterling to leave, and there had been rumors about whether he would stay or not. Um, but his wages are ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, his wages undermine the price cap that they're trying to put in because he's their signing and they've paid him a ridiculous amount of money, and it undermines their then price cap they decide to put in or their wage cap that they decide to put in after signing him.
Yeah, but I think if he,
So,
but I think if he was banging in the goals and backing up what he was saying, like I said last year, he was like, "I'm going to be Chelsea's top goal scorer last season," and he was nowhere near. He was so off it. Like if he was delivering that, what he's saying to that, then I don't think anyone would mind.
no,
But every Chelsea fan that I've heard phone in today or talk about it or post something about it has just been like, "All right, bye, good go." I've not heard one fan sort of say, "Yeah, yeah, do you know what? I wish he'd stay. Can he take a price cut so he'd stay if he really wanted to stay?" That thing, none of it. I think the disappointing thing is obviously his camp have come out on his behalf to discuss how they feel like he's been treated when they thought he would play because he's been in the media wearing the new shirt sponsor and all this sort of stuff in the build up to the game. He came back 2 weeks early from the preseason to start training by himself. Um, you know, that to me just sounds like Sterling, where it's like, well, I'm up here. I feel like I'm up here. Why am I not playing and stuff? And I've not seen anything while he's been at Chelsea that would suggest he's that level of player. I thought he was very lucky at City at times because just the players that he played with. But you've not seen Conor Gallagher come out and whine about it. You've not seen Chalobah and his team come out and whine about it. Lukaku hasn't even whined about anything recently, which I find surprising. And all of a sudden Sterling's come out, and now it's I need to have a chat. We need to have a chat with the directors. We need to have a chat with the manager and the owner. Find out where he's at. He's still got 3 years left.
I
It
think
took a lot away from the game. It took a lot away from the game. All I've heard today is about Sterling.
I think it's probably quite a savvy move. I think it's one of those from him. It's classless, but I think everyone kind of knows it's a bit of a toss up between him and Mudryk for the sort of backup left wing role at the minute. Mudryk's never really shown enough to be ahead of him, and Sterling's not really shown enough to make you want to go, right, there's potential in this bloke, but we've got Sterling, so who may be better than him on his given day. And Mudryk's just shown enough of flashes to show there is a bit of a player there somewhere, and it's whether we can bring it out in him. And I think it is a bit of a coin toss between the two of them. I think they're just putting a little bit more weight on you need to play Sterling rather than Mudryk to get him in the squad.
Yeah, I think there's various angles when you look at the situation. Personally, I think I still would want Mudryk to stay if I'm brutally honest.
I would as
Um,
well.
but here my big thing with the Sterling thing is this: if you really do you think that if the club turn around to him and say, "We hear you, we want you to stay," if you we want you to stay, but you've got to cut your wages in half to stay at this club, and we'll sell Mudryk. Do you think he would do that?
No.
No.
And I think he'd still be overpaid if he did that.
Yeah, and that's exactly my point. Like he's on what I think reports say 325, anywhere between 320 and 350 he's on, supposedly, right? So you cut that, you're still looking at easily 150 a week plus,
Yeah.
right? Now, if you really wanted to be at that club and prove that you want to do well for the club, etc., which is what he always comes out and says and all blah blah blah, then I personally would be saying, what's the issue? If the issue is the salary, let's renegotiate because I want to be here. If you don't want to renegotiate the salary, and that is the problem for the club, then why should he not be asked to leave or told to move? I mean, West Ham are looking at him, Crystal Palace are looking at him. They're not going to pay those wages. So if he's really serious about getting back into England, he's really serious about wanting to be a big player for the club and for the team, then A, show it, and B, cut your wages. Otherwise, if that isn't the case, he doesn't then want to move. I don't think he's going to have a problem playing with the under 23s, under 21s, training by himself with a few other rejects. Apparently, at the club don't feel that we need anymore, and still earn his money. I genuinely think he would be that player that would sit there and earn his money and go, I'm getting paid what I want. I don't care. And I think that's the problem. And other people have commented on his mentality and the way he acts. And I think that for me is a big part of it. Whereas all we've ever heard from Mudryk is he might not be performing, but he's a good trainer. He puts the effort in. And maybe that's toss up. Well, yeah. I think they had to tell him to stop doing his gym work.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough Sterling. Sanchez.
Other than that one, other than the second goal where I think he should have done better, I don't think he had a bad game, to be honest. They seem to
It
be
was okay
him for the play out as well for the second goal as well, which I do think Fofana probably could have and should have done better. But I thought Fofana had a decent game as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I've got that down here as well as I mentioned. I mean, I still think Jorgensen's going to be the way forward. I really do. I thought Sanchez made some good saves. I felt he could have done better with both goals. because in the first one with Haaland, he doesn't actually make himself big. He kind of just slides out and he has his hands quite low down and quite close to his body. I felt like he needed to go a bit bigger,
Yeah,
more than anything else. I thought that to me just felt quite rookie. Like, I really don't think he did. He just slid on his knees. I just don't think he did enough. And then the second one,
he was
yeah,
trying to get out there, wasn't he? Rather than long barrier, and I'm a big fan of the long barrier. But then again, the long barrier is you can give away a pen quite easily with that. So
no,
it
no, I agree. I'm not saying take him out, and there were a few Chelsea players, involved. I think was it Fofana or Colwell and Cucurella,
Colwell and Cucurella.
Colwell and Cucurella. So I do understand it, but I still felt like put your arm out. Like if you put your arm out, at least covering your near side, which is the only space he can really go to, you might be okay.
I think that was just a very good goal. I
It was. It was.
I don't think you can really blame him too much for that one at all. I think the second one, if you get a hand to it, you've got to do better.
But I don't think it's just I don't think his distribution. I think he's got better, but I still don't think his distribution is all there. I still don't feel comfortable when playing from the back with him in goal.
I felt a lot more comfortable without it being Dizazi's passing the ball to.
Yeah, I knew you'd
Hell of
say
a lot more comfortable because those two together, it's a fucking calamity. They both just put each other in absolute shit, and neither of them are good enough to deal with it. But yeah, what was the point in buying Jorgensen if he's not my first choice?
we had this debate in the stands. There's a bunch of us, the lads to my right, we all had a big chat about it, going, well, why have we gone out and bought this bloke and he's now not the number one? And to be fair, they were all saying they didn't want Sanchez in goal either. He did make some very good saves. I agree. I said
I
thought
do think he's I do think he's a good
it
shot
was
stopper,
good.
and I
Huh?
don't know enough. I do think he's a very good shot stopper. I don't.
Yeah.
Other than the Kovacic one, but and I haven't seen enough of Jorgensen. Maybe I need to watch some highlight videos to make me think that Jorgensen's
His
a shot
What
stopper.
I've seen him doing in warm-ups were just, his during warm-ups, what he does with ball skills is what you expect from an outfield player.
But I haven't seen his shot stopping. I was disappointed with him when we played City, and I think a lot of people were disappointed with him for one of the goals where he got rounded and didn't seem to dive, and then the defenders didn't sprint back either. And I feel like the one that they scored from almost the byline,
Mm.
and I feel like he could have done a hell of a lot better there. And I think the defenders could have actually tried to get back and got back and
The
got that
defense was all
line.
over the place in that game as well, though. Like
Yeah, I think it was more
and that's one of the main reasons
traffic.
I was really worried about moving forward because I was like, well, shit, we're playing City in a few weeks, and this is how we're playing against them now, and this is like their third team with Grealish and Haaland, and they're fucking Calvin Phillips centre back for fuck's sake. So
Yeah, on that, I didn't like, and I don't like how the media have done since and during that game, where they were going like, "Oh, this that understrength City team." You go, "Sorry, they're missing Rodri, and then Foden's on the bench because they chose not to play him, and we've played Cole Palmer because who's in the same situation, but we feel like we need to play him, and they bought this Savio bloke, I think
Fabinho, yeah,
Savio bloke,
he
for
did well. He played well.
30 million. Sorry, bit of a dodgy deal that with your club from France, I think it was.
No, no, Spain. It was Girona.
No, he was on loan at Girona. They absolutely sandbagged their team in France that bought him and then loaned him out. While I think that team in France got like back-to-back relegations.
Oh, because I heard they loaned him out, then they sold him, and then they bought him back for like half the price.
What I was hearing was that he was at the French team, where I thought that French team just bought him, and then he went out on loan to Girona for 2 years, and that French team could have really done with him. And he is worth significantly more than 30 million. And I think even in that cameo that he had against us, he is a player.
Oh, he is. I thought
No
Cucurella did
way
very
you
well
get
against him.
30 million unless there's some kind of like release clause in there. There's not a chance.
No, hopefully we'll see 116 charges from Man City then.
Be nice,
I
wouldn't
do
it?
agree. There's already talks about there being dodgy dealings around how he went from City to on loan somewhere, sold or then bought back by City for like half the price. I mean, there's there's something that isn't right about that. I agree.
Mm.
I can't remember the full ins and outs of it, but already people are kind of raising an eyebrow or two, shall we say, at that situation. But I thought
Mm.
Cucurella handled him really well. Thought Cucurella had a very strong first half, and got a bit tight
I
in the
think
second half.
Cucurella handled Doku very well. And when Savinho went on to his side, he was just unbelievable. Like almost, like, Cucurella struggled a lot, and he did all right, but he struggled a lot. And then Gusto started struggling with Doku on the other side, who
Yeah,
seemed
no,
to
you are
turn
right
it.
with that. No, you are right with that.
But I
That when
think,
they switched that over, that it did create problems for some weird reason. However, one thing that I will say while we speak about Doku switching to his left, our right,
yeah,
is at one point Gusto was nowhere near him, and Fofana had to track back, and he tracked back, and he out sprinted Doku, and I was quite worried about his pace and did he still have it, and he held up against him. So I felt really good and really positive after seeing that because he got there first and he shielded the ball. I was like, fair play. Okay, maybe his pace is still there. We just need to kind of ease him into it a little bit. So that for me was a real positive. That
Fofana was a big positive for me, actually. I thought
yeah,
he defended very well. He was pretty athletic as well. Didn't didn't give up too much against Haaland, really. And I think that's against Haaland, it's difficult to battle and to put him off and to cause him issues. And I think he did a reasonable job there. Obviously, Haaland still got a goal because it's fucking Haaland and he's incredible. But and I think also his like game awareness was good in that as well. I think he came across and covered a couple of times, and I
he
think
did. Yeah,
he did a very good job. And I was worried about what we'd have after a season, like basically a complete season off.
but he's had two.
Yeah.
Really, he's had two realistically back to back. So you know, that was a worry moving forward, especially when you look
Mm.
at Badiashile and Azazi waiting in the wings. You're kind of going, "Mm." Like again, keep Trevor, but no. Lavia, do you know what? First time I've ever really seen him play properly. And again, I thought he had a good performance. I actually got some statistics on him during the day. So at 39 passes, he completed 38. Six ball recoveries, four duels won, three interceptions, and one big chance created.
I think he was our best midfielder on the day.
Overall, probably, yeah. But you're
Uh,
not looking at Alavia though. But this is where you're not looking at Alavia to create lots of chances, really, are you? In the position that he was playing in that game. So again, you kind of go, well, all right, one's good. Because I wouldn't be looking at him with all the other players on the pitch going, well, you've only made one
no,
run.
you have to kind of judge them against what role they're playing.
Exactly. And I think overall you are right. In terms of his first touch was good. I said
Yeah.
Enzo's first touch wasn't great. We know he needs to work on his defensive side of things. 38 out of 39 passes is not bad. And let's face it, those passes weren't all sideways and they weren't all backwards. So again, that's a positive,
Mm.
considering other players that have played that position or played in the midfield. Six ball recoveries, four. Yeah, it's good. I think you're right. He played it reasonably safe, but overall, no arguments, no
Yeah,
complaints.
but see, I didn't think he played it particularly safe. Actually, I just felt confident with the
Reasonably, I
ball.
said reasonably.
Yeah, but even that, I think he was still trying to beat the press.
Yes, he did some lovely turns at some points.
Yeah,
Some lovely turns and made a run.
and I think
Absolutely.
that could be huge for us. I think that one of the things that worried me about that game actually was, is he going to get a chance? Because when we took him off rather than Enzo, I thought, is Lavia going to get a chance? Because I think we're going to fit all the players in that we want to fit in. I think Enzo's going to have to play in the double pivot or like the one of the other midfield roles that isn't that attacking midfielder. or the most defensive midfielder.
No,
And I
no,
think
I know what you're
he's going
saying.
to try and force Enzo into the team, where I think we'd be better off playing Lavia, because I just think maybe we'll end up dropping Caicedo out of it. He's got to beat Caicedo out, but I don't think he's beating Enzo out of that.
Well, the guy that normally sits next to me, obviously we gave up one of our tickets, so he had his mate there.
Right.
But the normal guy that's next to me,
Mm.
he he said to me what I've been saying, which is Enzo and Caicedo cannot play together next to each other. And I was like, yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. They cannot play next to each other. So you're right. One of them will have to sit. One of them will have to sit out. If you're going to put Enzo next to Caicedo, it's not going to work. I really don't think it's going to work. One of them will have to drop out, and you're right. Lavia will have to come in if that's the case.
And I don't. At the minute, I think it should be Enzo, because I think defensively he is shocking.
No, I agree. If you're going to put him that far back, then I don't think you should. I don't think you should be putting him that far back. He doesn't want to be that far back anyway. And again, defensively, like you are right, there is enough there, but he drew a lot of fouls. I do think he was playing the ball quite nicely across the park, through the middle. There were some really nice balls that he played. I agree defensively, he's not there 100%. But my biggest concern is actually when you I don't think Caicedo is worth what we paid for defensively, put it that way. And that's for me, that's his role. And that's why for me it's a bigger concern for me. Um
But I don't think anyone is worth what we paid defensively.
what at the moment or at
But like, who are you paying 100 million for? That purely just defends. So yeah, I do think Caicedo was underrated with his passing ability. He
I think
didn't.
Enzo's passing ability is better than Caicedo's. If I'm brutally honest, I really do think it's better.
Oh no, it is. But that's all Enzo brings, and if it's not at the minute, and if he's not really at it, and I didn't feel like he was at it against this, and he gave it away a lot more than he should have done. I'm not
I'm gonna
willing.
have to rewatch the whole game because I'm watching him a bit closer because I
I
personally
think
what I saw, I don't think he was that. I don't know how many times he gave the ball. I didn't really notice that, to be fair. I'll admit if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
in the
But
first half, I think there was a couple where he played it across our box and gave it away, and then I think some of his dribbling he got tackled far too easily and lost the ball. I think I think he gets caught on the ball. I think
there were a couple of times that he did get caught in the ball, but he got free kicks for them as well.
yeah, and like you say, like on that day his touch wasn't great. Like I hope that it is kind of match fitness and it's not really playing that position particularly often. So and we might see some improvements in there if he's given a go. But because I don't understand why he seemed to be such a great player for the first 6 months or so.
But did
Maybe
he
it
not
was
play?
just
But did he not play next to Kante?
I think he played next to Jorginho most of the time. I think Kante was injured because I think that's why we got rid of. I think that's why we got rid
He
of Kante
definitely, you're
because he
right.
was
You
injured.
are right. He definitely did play with Jorginho a fair bit.
He might have been playing next to Kovacic actually.
I think he played, yeah, potentially.
It must have been because we sold Jorginho in that in a January window, didn't we? I think we bought Enzo in the same window, didn't we? Or the year apart.
I can't remember. I thought they did play together. I really did think that they did play together. So did it? No, I thought
It might have
Jorginho
been over that 1 month though. I think we sold Jorginho right at the end of it, and I think we
maybe.
signed Enzo pretty. I don't know,
Maybe.
but I think I think Kovacic was a big loss when we lost him, and I think he showed that again.
He had honestly the first thing that I heard when we left the ground because we had to park up somewhere different. There was a road closure, so we ended up parking up somewhere different. So we actually came out of. Do you remember when we were younger and we used to park up the Boltons and we used
Yeah,
to yeah. So we went out that way, down
Right,
the going that way, but we ended up having to cut across the cemetery. So we were walking away with all the City fans.
right.
Mate, they were all talking about Kovacic.
Yeah.
They were all singing his praise. Like, he
And
was bastard. He was good,
they've been
and
talking, oh, Rodri's understudy. I'm like, the bloke's a Champions League winner.
he's won the Champions League more than once.
Well, I mean, even with us in that absolute shambles that we managed to win it with, like, uh, he's
He
no
won. He won 3 or 4 with Real Madrid. Granted, he wasn't really involved with the side as much.
Was he in that Inter team as well? Or had he moved on from Inter before Inter won it? I think he might have been in that, knocking around in that Inter team as well. With
What under
under
Mourinho?
Mourinho. Yeah. I think he was like 18 playing for Inter. We don't go anywhere. I think he's one of the perennially underrated players because he's not the most creative player in the world. But I think defensively he's incredibly solid. I think he's very good at beating the press. He's a decent passer of the ball and he can score a goal if he needs to. And I'm hoping that's what we've bought in Lavia
Well, we
and
thought
early
to
signs
be
of a
fair,
rise. But
we thought we would get more goals out of him if we're brutally honest. But I agree. He was always a big miss, and yeah, I mean, with the fact he went to City as well, you just thought, oh, it's going to come back and bite you in the arse at some
yeah.
point. But no, he did do very well. He did do very, very, very well. Right, I think that's everything from us today. Quite a long one. Various parts will be created once again. Apologies. And with that, thank you all for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment below, hit that notification button. And we will be doing another one of these at the end of the week after the Wolves game, where we will touch up on the Wolves game and the first leg at home against Servette. Thank you for watching.